Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is a video game that managed to miss me completely. I played all the Tony Hawk games up to and including Underground, except for this one until this year, 2021. First time I ever played Tony Hawk 2. All that time, I kind of figured that it would just be like an evolutionary step between Tony Hawk 1 and Tony Hawk 3. Both games that I played a lot. That is not the case. I knocked out both of those games in a single video. Tony Hawk 2, I am definitely going to revisit. We're going to get through a full playthrough in this video, but there's going to be so much left over to show off after I'm done. Does that mean that Tony Hawk 2 has twice as much content as Tony Hawk 1? Yes, it literally does. No exaggeration. And yet, there is one level fewer in this game than there was in Tony Hawk 1. Tony Hawk 1, 9 levels. This game, 8 levels. So, yeah, let's just dive right into it, because this is going to take a while. There's a lot of game here. So for starters, we've got our goals. We got to go to the hangar. To unlock further levels, we need money. In Tony Hawk 1, you had to get the tapes, which was accomplished by completing certain tasks. Here we need money. And here's how we get money. This incredibly long checklist. The first time you boot this game up, they just rub this in your face, 10,000 words. A lot of it has no meaning whatsoever to you. How are you supposed to keep track of all of this? There are 10 goals in every level in this game. Tony Hawk 1, 5 goals in every level. And in the loading screen where they showed you the goal, they also showed you little pictures of what the specific goals needed you to find to accomplish. They would tell you exactly where the hidden tape is, and the collectible goal, they would show you what the collectible is that you need to find. This game, no indication whatsoever. So, luckily, I practiced quite a bit. I do need to do the criminal, and that wasn't it. Kill the music. Yep. No licensed soundtrack. I will be subbing in Charlie Murder music, Twisted Metal music, whatever seems cool. But yeah, real shame, can't use that. There is still tons to see of this game. Beyond that soundtrack, iconic as it is. So, hang time gaps, you need to find them. There are 3 throughout the level. Gaps play a much larger role in this game than they did in the first one. And just to clarify our terms, gaps are when you get the blue text on the screen, which adds to your combo multiplier, gives you a handful of points. But most of all, opens up secret areas like that. That wasn't actually gap related, but many gaps do open up secret areas. They are required for certain challenges, which will get us money throughout this game. Which means you gotta find the gap somehow, with no visual indication whatsoever. Just trial and error. So I want to get my special up. And I want to jump over the helicopter. I jumped slightly too late. This one's pretty finicky. Jumped off of the correct angle. This should do it. There we go. 3 hang time gaps. But we're not done with the helicopter. We need to grind its blades. Just gonna launch it. We don't have time to watch it. We've got tons more stuff to do in the remaining 10 seconds. Get our tape. And manual through the barrels. That is a lot of goals done all at once. Not the 6 score, and not the 100% goals and cash. We won't be getting that last one ever, and we probably won't be getting the 6th score anywhere in this video either. So obviously that took a lot of memorization and a fairly precise route. It can be done much, much, much faster, but my first playthrough I didn't do anywhere near that well, so I'm fine with it. This time our specific goals, wall ride 5 bells, hall passes and collect skate is going to be our collectibles, and the gap goals, TC's roof gap, and 3 roll call rails. Absolute nonsense. Completely meaningless to us. I usually don't get that in one try. Wall riding is much more convenient than it was in the first game. It's still pretty awkward to do, but we're gonna have to do it. One thing this game retains from the first game: extremely long bail animations. You hit the ground, you're gonna stay on the ground a long time. Ugh. I think we need a reset. Let's show off how this usually goes. Yeah, just like that. We may not get the wall grind goal there. I'd be surprised if we did, quite frankly. Yeah, they added sloppy landings as well as perfect landings. One increases our points dramatically, the other decreases our points dramatically. It usually doesn't come into play until you get a fairly high stat rating for your landing stat. There's one of the roll call rails. We've missed too many of them for that to matter at this point. The wall rides, you missed the first one, so that doesn't matter. If you pull back on the directional pad really, really hard while you're plummeting towards the ground face first, you will pull yourself up and land on your board. And in doing so, not bail. Golf cart constantly running laps around here. It'll take you out pretty bad. Nowhere near enough hall passes. That's fine. We are not gonna accomplish much else in this run. Let's grab 50 bucks out of the sky over here. And see what exactly we accomplished out of our 10-item checklist. Not half bad. Certainly good enough. And we are gonna jump right out of this level, which has tons more content left. People who play this game will know there are 2 entire secret areas I didn't touch at all. That's what the next playthrough of this game will be for. All the secret areas. We're trying to play this one like a normal human might. They would probably go to the next level when it's available, certainly if they knew that the prize for the next level is $7,500. 500 of that is just floating around in the air, but the other 7,000 is the prize for getting a gold medal. So, we're gonna get a gold medal. We've got a gold medal. We got first place, at least, at the moment. That line is really, really overpowered. Which points out another weird thing about this game, which is that street tricks and street inclined skaters have a huge, huge advantage since the introduction of manuals. That's what they're called. And the levels are very, very flat. Spread out. I'm not going to land this. I need to get my stats up, which I'm going to do as soon as I get my $7,000 prize. But yeah, vertical skaters like Tony Hawk himself, the namesake of the game, are at a severe disadvantage. You have to rely on street stuff, rail grinds and manuals, if you're going to get anywhere in the later levels. Obviously, this first competition doesn't really matter. Even though I screwed up the overpowered line at the beginning, easily got gold. We are not going to go to the next level just yet, though. We are going to spend some cash. So, customization in the first game was limited to your board. You could choose the steering sensitivity that your board had. You could choose the little design on the bottom, like that one. And you could change the color of the wheels. And that is all you could do as far as customization in that entire game. This game, we can customize our stats to our liking. We can buy tricks. Tricks are very expensive. And once again, without trial and error, you aren't going to know what tricks to buy. You might spend all your money on something totally useless, because some of the more expensive tricks are not actually very good. 1 Foot Japan is garbage. Totally useless. What's better than 1 Foot Japan, in terms of the points that it gives you and the animation, the speed of the animation, better in every way, is this, the airwalk. Most characters do not start off with the airwalk. Tony Hawk does. It is a grab trick that gives you tons more points than most of the other grab tricks. Tony Hawk also has the mute, which I spoke of in a previous video, renamed these days. So we could buy more specials. We can't really afford to do that. We need stats. We need stats real bad. We can also buy additional boards. We're not going to do that. That would also be a waste of our money. So Tony Hawk, his initial stat allocation is very good. A few less points in spin would be great, but he's known for the 900, so there you go. We need our ollie way up, our speed up. We need a few points of rail, and 1 more point of manual. And the rest in air stats. Yeah, that's probably good. We'll split this a little bit. Yeah, that should be fine. We are now much more powerful. Capable of doing things we couldn't have dreamed of just a moment ago. I mentioned how much content there is in this game, and yet I'm blazing through these levels. The later levels are exponentially larger than all the other ones. So we'll be spending even more time within their confines. But mostly this is just a showcase of what the game is like for an average player. When we return, we'll show off how ridiculous it can get if you really want to dig into it. So for now, we gotta worry about a gap, Joey's sculpture, and the subway rails. That one at least makes sense. Sort of. It won't when we see what the subway is. But for now... So when we start out, there's a cab right next to us. And if we turn directly to our right, it will crash into us. But if we turn and jump, we will car plant on the cab. which is a good way to immediately get special at the very beginning of the level. We kind of want special at the beginning of the level because right over here, that wall there, grinding that is worth an obscene amount of points. Far more points than it ought to be worth. It's basically that chain of tricks that I did at the beginning of Marseille, but for New York. Because street skating, very, very strong in this game. But if we had special, we would be able to do our special grind here. Carefully dodging some important collectibles that we need. But so far we've missed the S, so we gotta go down here to get the K. Missed it. You gotta do a lot of blind jumps in this level. Like for the A here. There we go. That has tricked me many, many times. Given me a lot of problems in the past. There's skate. We got almost no time left. It'd be a miracle if we got the remaining subway tokens. Are you ready for a miracle? Nope. Just over my head. That is fine, though. So, let's see if we can't get this car plant this time. There it is. Special immediately. And then I wasted it. So a weird thing about this game, I'm playing it on PS3 right now, and I heard recently many PS1 games play better on a PS2 on that emulator. So I tried this game out on a PS2. And the only difference I noticed, the load times are practically identical. Everything else pretty much indistinguishable from what we're seeing right now. The main thing that I noticed that was different is that cab that we planted off of. It starts in a different location. It's slightly further back up the street. Meaning, when you go to do the car plant, it won't happen because the car is too far behind you. You'll either have to brake completely and wait for the cab to catch up, or just not go with that strategy. And I've completely wasted this run explaining that stuff. We'll go for the car plant again. Missed it. That should do it. And landing back on the rail is actually kind of difficult. The detection is weird. It's a PS1 game. So usually I can do this with Tony Hawk's default grind stats. So I've upgraded them at this point. Still having trouble. It's hard to play this game while talking, is my excuse today. Okay, pretty solid combo. Got us our pro score. What else should we go for? We could actually get the 6 score if we wanted. But we would have to do that same combo again. Lucky I didn't bail when I bumped into that girder thing. So usually when you go straight forward and hit something, you bail in this game. Most other Tony Hawks just kill your momentum when that happens. Still wouldn't have gotten us the pro, or the 6 score quite yet. Could actually do some vert grinding. Or I could have, if I'd started sooner. But alas. Let's see. Yeah, the 6 score probably would have gotten us over the top to unlock the next level. But for now, we gotta keep at it. Gonna show off some gaps. This game has tons of gaps in relatively interesting locations. If I'd been going much faster, I would have gotten that one. Missed the rail somehow, but we have to land on this bent parking meter somehow. Gaps are very obscure in this game, many of them. Many of them are quite obvious. Lip tricks, fairly useless, but they expanded the system dramatically from Tony Hawk 1. There are tons of lip tricks that you can assign to each of the 4 directions. Guess we're going for the subway tokens, which requires 1 major blind jump, which I missed last time, although I got it much more accurate then. It's also a blind jump with traffic between you and the next ramp. This is a rough one. But we did it. The layout of the subway tokens is perfect for getting it alongside also collecting skate. Very efficient to get them at the same time, as I did not do. Yeah, that's also a goal, grinding the subway rails. Did we get far enough? Not quite. But New York's a fun level. There are worse places to be stuck for the rest of our lives. I've been to New York City many, many times. Completely irrelevant to what we're seeing. This is not an accurate representation of New York City in any way. But what I was saying earlier, we got the subway tokens. We unlocked the subway. The subway is what we were just on at the end of the last video. Which means the subway is miles above our head. Kind of a misnomer. I've been on New York subways. They generally do not go over the streets. They go under them. I'm sure there are exceptions, but it's weird to portray the subway as being way up in the air like that. Right there was the big drop mechanic, introduced in Tony Hawk 2. One of the things they should not have introduced. They rarely, if ever, bring it back in future Tony Hawk games. The trains make that goal needlessly difficult. So guess what? We're retrying again. The subway is right up here, and the train cycle will be perfect for not getting run over if we immediately go up here. So not even holding the ollie button right now. Start my grind. Jump right off. There we go. Probably enough money already while we're in the secret area. We'll get the secret tape. There we go. There's a gap that I'm not even going to try to get, but it's for... I almost did get it. You have to grind the backboard of the basketball hoop. That one took me a bit of a while. Also, over here, we've got these pillars. These pillars are quarter pipes. They don't look it, but they have just the right angle for you to use them as quarter pipes. And if you transfer from one to the other, you get a gap. I have gotten every single gap in this game because there is an unlockable tied to doing so. But not this version of the game. Anyone familiar with getting all the gaps in the game? Doing it in legitimate Tony Hawk 2 is a nightmare. Nearly impossible unless you start using cheats. So there are many other versions of Tony Hawk 2. This is a very popular and successful entry in the franchise. Perhaps the most beloved of the single-session version of the game. So it has been remade numerous times. The remake I have and will be showing off later on is called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X. But there was also a remake called Tony Hawk HD, which was not quite all the levels in this game, nor all the levels in Tony Hawk 1. Just sort of a combo of particularly good levels from both of those games. Then they added levels from Tony Hawk 3 as DLC. It is considered a fairly poor adaptation of the original series. But for a long time, it was the only digitally available version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So nonetheless, if you wanted to play this game on a relatively modern console, that was your lot. You were playing Tony Hawk HD. Then it was delisted in 2017. They lost the license to the music and the Tony Hawk brand. So that thing went offline. You cannot buy it today except on Amazon. Amazon is still selling codes that work for the PC version. But I don't want to play the PC version. If I could play the console version, I would. Because that one's kind of interesting, the way they remix the levels. They won't let me play volleyball with them. I have near seconds to ollie the magic bomb and get the last spray can. There we go. Pretty successful run there. And then, of course, the latest remake of Tony Hawk 2 is Tony Hawk 1 Plus 2. Came out just last year. Very, very successful. Probably the best version of Tony Hawk 2. So now I'm gonna get Skate. Or die trying. The time limit is, again, fairly generous on this one. So, in my blathering just a moment ago, I mentioned that this is probably the most beloved of the single-session style of Tony Hawk gameplay. So the first 3 Tony Hawk games, you would play an entire level with a 2-minute time limit hanging over your head. Then, in Tony Hawk 4, they went with a free skate style of gameplay, where the levels you could explore with no time limit whatsoever. But goals would have a time limit. And you would find goals scattered throughout the level. People would assign you tasks. And you would go complete them, and do so in a time limit. Which is obviously a more logical way to do it, the single session style never actually made sense. It was an artificial time limit, because the time limit signifies nothing. You can just restart the level once you're done with it. I am going to restart the level right now, for example. Up. So there's my little trick for getting right onto the roof immediately. Wall grind, wally, jump into the wall. Causes you to crash, but gets you right where you want to be. So yeah, single session style of Tony Hawk ended in 2000... Well, Tony Hawk 4 was in 2002. So, single session, that saw its demise in 2001. And while I'm wasting time here, let's talk about some Tony Hawk inspired games. Starting with, it's called Evolution Skateboarding, a Konami game, which had the misfortune of coming out in 2001, when this style of Tony Hawk gameplay was retired. But Evolution Skateboarding had no way of knowing that. So, it is the only Tony Hawk ripoff that I'm aware of that uses the single session style of gameplay. Which means it will be pretty good for my purposes of sitting down playing the whole game through in a single session. The problem is Evolution Skateboarding is very, very bad. It's an awful skateboarding game. It is best known for having Solid Snake as a playable character, which admittedly is a good thing to be known for. That definitely sold some copies of the game to people who were promptly disappointed. The physics in that game are very weighted against the player. So it's not very fun, and the level design is kind of rough. But Simon Belmont is also a playable character. And they've got levels based on Castlevania levels and Metal Gear levels. It is a cool game to look at, not a cool game to play. Which means it's the sort of game that I would normally play, so that other people don't have to. It might be slightly too bad, even for me. But I will recommend a speedrun of it, performed at Games Done Quick, where they show off all you need to see of that monstrosity. So in order to make vertical skills even vaguely viable for the score goals in this game, you can see our point values have deteriorated down to virtually nothing. A 900 is worth 2,000 points. That would take you a long time to get the 200,000 required for the 6 score. Certainly more than 2 minutes. So, what you want to do is change your footing to switch. And now I need to change back. Or do I? Let's see. Okay, we're on switch footing. So, damn you, Tony Hawk. We're back on switch footing. So if I do a 900, not only do I get full point value for it, but I get a bonus higher point value. So switch skills count as a different use of the skill than the non-switch version. The drawback being that while you're switch-footed, you have a reduced jump height, reduced speed. It is harder to perform the skills that you're trying to perform, which is why they're worth more points. But at this point we've deteriorated the point values of both of them, so it don't matter. Just barely enough to get to the next competition. You always want to go to the competitions as fast as possible because they are worth so much more money than any of the other levels. Like, unlocking the first level, the school, requires $1,000, then $3,000 to unlock the first competition, and your reward is $7,000. The inflation of the economy here is absurd. This is all to get my special up. Do an airwalk. And try and hold my special grind. There we go. Very, very valuable combo thing there. That is the best of the street sort of lines that you can pull off that I found here in this competition. This competition is definitely more vertically oriented, which is one of the reasons it's quite a bit harder. Vertical skills, very underpowered. But you won't be in as much risk of completely degrading their value down to nothing in the 1 minute time limit. Yep, they killed my speed in midair. It's high enough that, yeah, even at second place we'll be able to, in the next heat, easily go much, much higher. Blow the competition out of the water. The detection of lip tricks and grinds is very bad in this game. Yeah, definitely should have been a grind there. Like you can see when I dismounted, it was at a like 45-degree angle. From that approach, we definitely should have gone into a grind. My grind is way too slow. So we'll do some vert stuff for a while. We showed off what a good grind combo looks like in this level. Pretty good. Not as many bales this time. Probably enough to bump us over the top. Looks like it. Just barely. Maybe if they gave him a better score. They did. The judges are trying to kill me here. This time we'll just do our vert tricks. We will degrade the 900 down to nothing, and in doing so easily break 100,000 points, guaranteeing victory. It won't be interesting, but I mean, we all remember that time that Tony Hawk went to a skate competition and did 10 900s in a row, and the judges gave him a 90. Aw. See, the higher part of the half pipe here has collision and can break your combo. Can still do this. Nope. It did not detect my 900 input. Bummer. But we are legally required to get a gold medal. So let's do this thing. Perfect start. Airwalk our way into quite a bit more points. I've seen that particular combo be worth over 50,000 points. You may notice that the name of that gap is very strange. Van's Secret Area Key. This level has secret areas that are unlocked with gaps. We call them keys, and they are otherwise not indicated whatsoever. why would that unlock any sort of secret area? And yet it does. Once again, failed to detect my 900 combo. Detection of inputs is very, very bad in this game. Like, compared to the first game, it's awful. If you have a special that starts with up as its first input, if you try to do a boneless, which is up, up, release, X, then you try to do your special, it will almost always ignore that first up input required to do your special. So any special you have assigned with up as the first input, reassign it. So you will not be doing that special. And as we can see, even specials with other assignments don't always work. Can't see it at all. It's entirely centralized in my controller. But the problem persists nonetheless. Also very, very slow load of time to display all the scores. All those scores being fake, randomly generated scores. Least they could do is make them load quickly. But like I said, I played this game on the PS2, which is supposedly a faster emulation. Not a more accurate emulation, but a faster one. And those load times were identical. And the menuing at the title screen, also identical. So buying stats in this game takes forever. Reassigning your skills and all that, all incredibly arduous. Seems good. Yeah. Guaranteed gold. Finally. At least I did well on the Venice Beach level. That's probably the hardest one in the game. But I've not done so hot on all the other ones of late. Like I said, we're playing the game like a normal human would. Which is to say, somewhat slowly. We just got a gigantic injection of cash. Let's use it. And landing will get us more points. Look at how much money we have. Obscene amounts of money. I don't even need that much manual. There we go. The inflation continues to get more absurd as we move on to the final full level of the game, which is Philadelphia, another city I have been to in person. Very East Coast centric, this Tony Hawk game, which is kind of weird. Usually they are more West Coast centric. Tony Hawk himself is from California. They got a big skating scene over there. So what we want to do is get this. There we go. Yes. Get more bells. Wall grinds. Very punishing. Take forever to reset your attempt. But they get you a lot of heights, so they're kind of important. We need to do a specific grind on that awning. And grinds you cannot reassign. Every other skill you can go in that Buy Tricks menu and at least see what button inputs you need to do in order to do that trick. Not so with grinds. So you just have to know That up triangle. Why did that not count? Ugh. That was the correct grind, but for some reason we didn't get the gap. I've never seen that happen before. There it is. One more time. Where's the gap? What is going on? Okay, we're not getting that one. That's the least valuable goal in this level, anyway. Worth the least amount of money to actually get it. Gotta hurry up if we're gonna get that E. Yep, we're not gonna get anything. What a shame. So yeah, that specific grind is up triangle, and it's called the nose blunt slide. The goal is to blunt slide the awning. And since I cannot check the button configuration for my grinds, I legitimately have no idea if there is a grind called just the blunt slide. But the nose blunt slide does count. I've done it a million times. It's the only grind I know how to do that does count. So perhaps it's the only one. Here comes the bus. There are hazards in just about every level, eager to kill us. There we go. Unlocks a major secret area. Excellent for score grinding. So we gotta get back where we just were and grind that wire for a secret tape. The staircase, not normally this much of a problem. Yep, having a real hard time with collision today. Oh yeah, I was talking about Tony Hawk rip-off games. So, Evolution Skateboarding, one of the most interesting for me, but also one of the worst. So, there was also a big important one, is called Disney's Extreme Skating Adventure. From name alone, you would expect it to be utter trash. It uses the Tony Hawk 4 engine for its gameplay. So, it legitimately plays like an actual Tony Hawk game. And one of the really good ones, it plays like Tony Hawk 4, which has tons of features. It is also done in the style of Tony Hawk 4, which is to say a pseudo-open world gameplay thing, where you are assigned goals by finding individuals to give you those goals, scattered throughout the levels. So it plays extremely well, and it looks really, really good. It had a pretty high budget. So, like, for a PS2 era game, you don't find much games that look as good as Disney's Extreme Skating Adventure. Beautiful animations of beloved Disney characters. That one's not as much of a selling point, especially not for me, but it's neat to see. So that would be a fun game to check out. And much, much, much more recently, in the year 2021, just in September, was released a game called Skatebird, in which you play as a bird. A literal bird, not anthropomorphic in any way except for the fact that you can speak. And you speak to other birds and perform tasks that they would like you to perform, which only a bird on a skateboard possibly could perform. The game is very, very charming. Super, amusing to just watch. And they have specific mechanics to being a bird, which which is to say you can flap your wings for additional ollies in midair. So I played that game a fair amount. I like it quite a bit. I would have done a video on it, but, well, I recorded a video on it. But it was basically a slideshow. My computer is too bad to be recording recent PC games. So instead, this is just my hearty recommendation to check it out yourself. It's quite good. Not getting skate this time. In fact, we'll immediately retry. Go right for some score goals, which requires a really good line right off the start. That's for special. Okay, we could have done much better there, but it's a good start. So the 6-score goal for this level, 250K. Really, really impossible for most players of this game. It requires an entire run of the level, the full 2 minutes, to go quite perfectly. So while we're back here, we'll get the lip trick goal. And as I mentioned, lip tricks are not detected very well in this game. So we might do some grinds, inadvertently. 3 out of 4 though. And that's all of them. So let's get our special back. Go for the pro score by being slightly less greedy. Oi. Alright. We got 1 goal. So you can see how this game can take quite a bit of time to get anywhere. I practiced this and had much better lines and goals per run ratio going. You know, talking while playing. Harder than it seems. Definitely did the correct input there. Didn't get what I wanted. At this point, our landing skill is pretty high, so we can go for perfect landings for extra points. Not so much on 900s. I mean, if you could perfect land a 900, you would get a lot of points. But that's not really a thing. For obvious reasons. It would make vertical skating actually viable in this game. Which they apparently did not want. We can now do an additional flip trick on top of our sack tap to increase its multiplier. Here's our pro score. And we're not going to get anything else in this run. So, I accidentally saved. Just slows us down a bit. We'll go for skate. I'm not going to go to try and nose blunt slide the awning, because it doesn't work for some reason. Cursed run that this is. Already blue skate. The S is in a just horrible position. I hate going for skate in this level. because sometimes that'll happen. We can't really wall grind to get up there. I mean, you can, but it's a pain in the ass. We could also go for Drain the Fountain. Not doing that today. Yeesh. I do like the monument that they made to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater in the city of Philadelphia. Why wouldn't they? There it is. Can't take it from me this time. I snuck up on it. Can't even begin to fathom why they didn't give me the gap those first 2 times. And I almost didn't get the right grind. But right at the last second, switch it up to the right one. Now we just need that E. I was trying to get hit by the bus. Let's take this path in reverse. Matter of time before the bus gets us. There we go. More than satisfied. Now, with how poorly we performed there, on a relatively easy level, what's gonna happen on this final competition? The answer is probably quite good things. This competition is very hard, the judges are incredibly harsh, but the opportunities to score points, even for vertical skaters, are numerous. So, we should actually do pretty well here. And when we win, $60,000. There we go. Solid 24K. Didn't feel like doing my 900 there, but this is suicide. Yeah. I pulled off the move, but doing it turned me 90 degrees somehow, as the 900 often does. There we go, well over 100. With the bail we had, we're still not guaranteed to land in first here. But maybe should still be in the 90s. And 91, they might give the AI as much as a 94, but not quite. And as we begin this next heat, note the helicopter crashing into the crowd, which does not exist, fortunately. That was the helicopter we launched back at the very beginning of this game, in the hangar level. Somebody played Earthworm Jim, sounds like, before making this game. Because in Earthworm Jim, you also launch a gigantic object right in the very first level, and at the very end of the level, it crashes. Uh-oh. So I didn't mean to do this, but it is going to be worth a lot of points. Totally by accident. The gap right there is what makes this particular half-pipe so good for score grinding. And finish with a 900. The 900, if you were to purchase it in the skill store, $15,000. But Tony Hawk starts with it. And he starts with the airwalk. Tony Hawk is by far the best character in this game, as usual. We are certainly guaranteed first place. Also, the effect of the helicopter crashing, as cool as it is kind of ruined by the fact that it happens every single time you start a new heat. So you'll see that helicopter crash like 10 times. But not this time. We're done seeing the helicopter crash. We're done seeing all the gameplay in this game. We're rewarded with the injury video, which I skip. We got a better video as a reward for getting 3 gold medals. We get to watch real Tony Hawk do real stuff.
What you know, what you need? I need some money or some honey. Big Daddy, you know he's living live, and everybody in the world knows he's in charge. The Big Daddy, you're the place to be, but you gotta be rich to afford to be the Big Daddy. Say you want to stay, he's in the White House now, so you have to pay the Big Daddy. Who's here to protect you? Big Daddy.
Always a good way to end a job well done in this video game. And they make you earn it here in Tony Hawk 2. Whew. Even as bad as I played today, that is much practice. Tons and tons of practice. I was not prepared when I purchased this game, popped it in for the first time. It tore me apart. Because I played Tony Hawk 1 and 3, both of which are much smaller games. They scaled this game back for Tony Hawk 3. Removed a bunch of features, got rid of the cache icons throughout the levels. It's a lot of game. This is basically the Banjo-Tooie to the first game's Banjo-Kazooie. I much prefer Banjo-Kazooie to its sequel, because they just added too much. It's not all good, which is why they scaled back in Tony Hawk 3. There's a little too much. People obviously love this game, rightfully so. There's a lot to love. Most of it is very good. They put a little too much in. But even still, we will be coming back to it, because there is a lot more great stuff to see. We scratched the surface. This has been the tip of the iceberg this entire run. So when we come back to this game, it will be an extravaganza of secret areas, secret characters, getting all the cache icons, showing off some of the more absurd gaps that they expect you to do in the game. All sorts of really cool stuff. Hope you'll join me for more Tony Hawk 2. And I also hope that you enjoyed this Tony Hawk 2 outing.